I can just picture John Dorsey like Thanos talking to a little one like Baker Mayfield. Okay, little one, you want me to get you more toys to play with? I will get you Odell Beckham Jr. in our takeover of the world. I believe in Cleveland. Yo, what up? We're back. Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast, and I got my old buddy, old pal, Paulie Burmeister. I can't help it. Sorry, I gotta say
Works for me.
You know, but hey, subscribe to the Chris Simms podcast, Unbuttoned podcast. You know, YouTube/NBC Sports. Okay, you can find it anywhere you download your podcast. But kind of a big day.
How about that?
A few little things to talk about in the news.
Yeah.
And I was just explaining to Paul here, okay, because he's getting up there. First of all, we got to say, Paul just turned 48. You're old, Paul. You're old.
Inevitable now. There's no way around it.
I have to have fun with you with that.
I was telling you before, I mean, like when you're 42, 43, you kind of do this game in your head. You're like, I'm not really that old.
Right.
I'm just kind of like a getting up to the middle part of being an adult. Now at 48 with 50 being right there, there's no reason playing that game anymore.
I can't imagine. I'm getting there to the 40 age, and I'm like,
39?
I'm 38. Okay. I'll be 39 in August, but I still can't believe I'm getting to that number. I mean, that's one of those numbers where it's like, I remember my dad turning that age, and I thought he was old then.
40's great. You'll love it.
But 48, I was explaining to our 48-year-old man here about Thanos and the Avengers, right? So you got to see that.
I know.
First of all, I mean, this guy beats up Hulk. He does everything, but he changes the world, and that's what John Dorsey's doing, of course, with the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants, and that was probably where we're going to start right here, right, with that conversation.
No, probably. Where were you last night when you heard that OBJ was going to Cleveland?
I was getting ready to eat dinner, okay, and I got hamburgers and salad in front of me. I got a group text from Pro Football Talk because we got the rundown coming, and I see, okay, thank you, first curse of the day, all right, and then I saw, Giants trade Odell to the Cleveland Browns from stats. And I wrote, stop. I wrote stop. And then I wrote, are you effing with me? Okay. And then, of course, I went online and started looking, and I was like, oh, my gosh, this is real. And I was in shock. And then they yelled for my little boy, who's a huge Giants fan and a huge Odell Beckham Jr. fan. And he was like, what? Why would the Giants do that? And then immediately, Dad, I think I'm going to root for the Cleveland Browns this year. You okay?
Yeah,
so Phil Simms, the other Phil Simms, is a Browns fan now.
What was your immediate reaction? Like, okay, I get it, or gosh, what a mistake?
No, I get it. I do. I think that the Giants probably felt like this was a, what would I would say, irreparable, like kind of situation, irreparable. That's how you say it. Thank you very much, Pete D. But yeah, I think they kind of felt that way. I'm sure, listen, the Giants, the organization a little bit just from following football. We both know people involved and everything like that. It's an old school organization. They usually are not all about the outspoken, crazy type of player that Odell Beckham Jr. is or perceived to be. So I always wondered, are they going to stay the course here with Odell? And then you got the Josina Anderson interview last year and a few other things.
A lot of things.
A lot of things.
Like
certainly.
That.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I just thought, I don't know if that's the Giants' cup of tea. And then at the same time, when you listen to the answers that Odell has said publicly and things like that, it always seemed like, I don't know if he loves playing here or being here or loves his quarterback necessarily. Yeah. And I understood that. And this is something I really thought would happen this offseason. I know Jay Glazer is the one that predicted it.
Yeah, he did.
But this is one of these things that I know even on Pro Football Talk, I had brought it up during January, and we had to make like what's your bold statement of the offseason? I said the same thing. I just felt like reading between the tea leaves that this could be a possibility, and then it was a possibility.
Tell me if you think I'm viewing this wrong, because I'm curious what you think.
Right.
There's the initial shock when a tremendous talent like this gets shown the door. I think an automatic reaction is, you're better off without a talent like that? How is that possible? But once you get past that thought, and here's where I am.
Yeah.
What's a bigger concern or a bigger issue, a bigger objective inside the Giants building right now? Keeping one tremendous talent that's not a quarterback?
Right.
Or finding a way this spring to locate your quarterback? So if this deal, once you get past that first feeling, leads to the Giants having a quarterback for the next 10 years, isn't it a win?
Yeah, I do agree with that. Yeah, I think the Giants are trying to still win now. I don't think they're giving up on the 2019 season. And yes, they're going to dabble with their future quarterback, I would expect, in the draft. And, people out there are going to go, well, how can they do both? And they can do both. I mean, look at the Baltimore Ravens last year. I mean, they went into the season with Baltimore and Joe Flacco and thought, we're going to go for it. Then he got kind of hurt and beat up, and they threw Lamar Jackson in. So this is not like the first time we've seen this, okay? You can do both. The Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes and went to the playoffs the first year when he was sitting on the bench with Alex Smith. So, again, you can do both. But I get your point as far as, the Giants have a lot of holes on their roster. They're trying to fix things, and I think that Odell Beckham Jr. is not really their style of personality or what they want to deal with right now. I think they are kind of placating to Eli Manning. I think they realize that they have a quarterback that can't necessarily always take advantage of Odell Beckham Jr.'s strengths. I would argue that too. So they probably looked at it and said, you know what? We still got talent on this offense, even if we don't have Odell Beckham Jr. Sterling Shepard's pretty good. Right. Evan Ingram has a chance to be one of the best pass-catching tight ends in football. And then, and for my money, I don't know how you feel about the guy. I know you think he's awesome. Saquon Barkley's the best running back in football already. Right. So I just feel like, hey, they're going to change their style of play and not let Odell be such a big factor in everything, and they're going to move on and continue to build their football team.
About 5 minutes after dealing with all of these feelings, and we found a way to get it onto the NHL show last night, by the way.
You got to. That's what kind of star he
Matt
is.
Casey said, let's plug it in here a couple times.
Right.
So that's what a major sports story it was, obviously. But soon after that, I got to this question, okay, what quarterback is going to be available at 6?
Yeah.
If the Giants just stayed at 6, they didn't package 17 with it, they just thought, okay, we can get our guy at 6. Is the second best quarterback going to be there? Is the third best quarterback still going to be there? Or do you think they have to find a way to move up?
Well, right now they're sitting pretty. It's an odd year, okay, because the Cardinals are the only team in the top 5 ahead of them that were even talking about in the quarterback conversation, right? The rest of the teams, it's very weird. 49ers at number 2, they got Garoppolo. The Jets at number 3 got Sam Darnold. The Raiders at number 4, I would be shocked if they moved on. I know people are talking about that, but I still think they're going to stay steady with Derek Carr. I don't think they got Antonio Brown and said, let's get him with a rookie quarterback. That'll be real easy for the rookie quarterback to adjust to. So I think they're staying with Derek Carr. So I think within that, if nobody else trades up in the meantime, I think they're still sitting in a good spot. But what they need to be scared of is the team like the Washington Redskins or the Miami Dolphins. If they decided they want to make that move, or a team we're not thinking of, exactly right, where they make a move, now the Giants at least have the assets with the 6th and 17th pick to go, okay, somebody traded up to number 3. Well, we got some assets to get to number 2 if we have to, or 1, whatever it may be. I mean, yes, from that standpoint, it is a good decision for them.
Right.
Now, go ahead.
So I was going to say, let's just assume whoever takes him, whether it's Arizona, somebody's taking Kyler Murray at number 1. Quarterbacks 2 and 3, are they good enough to go in the top 5 as well?
I think they are. I do. I mean, there's been definitely worse quarterbacks drafted in the top 5. I would go through, and I'm not going to go through history here, but there's certainly, yes. I mean, I think Drew Haskins is big time, and Dwayne Haskins and Drew Lock are both big time franchise type quarterbacks. I really do. They have special attributes that I really like to their game, and would not be shocked if a team kind of made a move up there and wasn't sure what's going to go on to make sure they can ensure they get one of those 2 guys.
But the bottom line for this conversation today with the Giants and what happened with OBJ, they are positioned now to go get their guy with 2 first-round picks if they feel like they have to move up to get him.
Yeah, exactly right. They can do whatever they want. And I expect one of those picks to go to the quarterback, if not both, if they have to trade up. Either way. Hey, I don't know how to feel about this whole thing. I'm not necessarily crazy about it from the Giants' end in a lot of ways, too. Yeah. You know, I'm not. I mean, again, I guess I get a little bit annoyed with the Eli Manning at times. I will say that as a true Giants fan.
What annoys you about it?
Well, again, for whatever reason, I always feel like he gets a free pass. There's always an excuse made for him.
2 Super Bowl victories.
Well, I understand that, but that was 7 years ago.
I understand that as well. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that that's always why he gets that free pass.
It does exactly seem right. I mean, you're right about that. I can't deny that. But at some point, you can't let one player hold the team hostage. And I guess in this whole situation, I just feel like he deserves some of the fault here with the fact that it didn't work out with OBJ. Whether he couldn't rely relate to him in the locker room, or the simple fact that he just couldn't capitalize on his abilities. He won't wait in the pocket to throw the ball down the field to him, or just won't launch it and throw it down the field when Odell was open. There was too many instances of that to where, yeah, I get frustrated just because I am a Giants fan at heart. I truly am. And I know I'm kind of in a no-win situation when I talk about Eli Manning, because people go, oh, he's just saying that because Phil Simms is his dad and he's being a hater. No, Eli Manning's the greatest quarterback in Giants history. I got no problem. I'm paid to give my honest opinion, and I've been around football a whole lot, and those are just my thoughts on the matter in general. But yes, yeah, I guess I got issues with that. I'm also shocked that the Giants didn't have to trade a whole lot. Or didn't get a whole lot back.
You don't think that first, the third, and Jabril Peppers was enough?
I would have expected a higher market. Yeah, I would have. I think if they tried to make this trade before last season, they definitely would have got more than a first and a third in Jabril Peppers.
What would have been the best compensation? Like he's worth how much?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think, you know, you look at the value. First of all, you're getting a guy, and we'll see if Odell Beckham Jr. asks for more money as he goes to Cleveland. But
you think he might?
I think he might. I think there's a very good possibility.
How much is he going to make this year?
Well, he's going to make his $15 million from here on out is his average salary. Now he's in and just off that, he's in a position of power again to say, no, I want a little more. I want to outdo Antonio Brown. Cleveland is being crowned gods of the NFL right now, so they want to make sure this deal goes through. And they want to make sure Odell's happy when he gets there. I will not be shocked if he gets a little icing on top of his contract to make again the highest paid.
Doesn't it behoove him, though? I'm just playing the other side. Doesn't it behoove him with the way everything went down, and a big reason why he's not in New York anymore, to just start out saying, I'll play for that $15 million, to not make a big deal about it?
No, you're right. It's probably easier to go in that way smooth, and yeah, you're not going to ruffle any feathers that way. But I just think that day and age, it's over that day. The NFL player now knows, hey, you got to get it while you can get it, and he's in a position where he still can demand it and get it to where, if that's the case, okay, yeah, he could probably make this happen right now because of the way it looks, and Cleveland's not going to want to be embarrassed by him pulling out of the deal or it not going through because it's not finalized yet. So I do think he's got the position or the power in this position to kind of to play with that altogether.
And one of the side stories.
The draft compensation.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I would have expected a first, a third. Jabril Peppers, maybe another third, something like that. I mean, if you look at Khalil Mack, what he got last year going to the Chicago Bears, right? And they had to pay him a $100 million contract. You know, so
there wasn't the association with potentially bad teammate, though.
No, you're right. That was not there. Yes. And, well, you know, and I would argue, first of all, I am an OBJ apologist. I don't know if you know this a whole lot, but I do. Well, I stick up for him because I feel like sometimes he gets put more in the villain role than Antonio Brown. And I want to go.
You think he didn't bring some of that on himself?
He did. He certainly did. But I think it was in a better way than Antonio Brown, nor does he have the laundry list of on-field or off-the-field problems that Antonio Brown's had. But sometimes I feel like OBJ gets vilified to a whole new extent compared to Antonio Brown.
Is that because he's in New York?
I think that's probably part of it. Exactly right. Yes, it's of course the New York area. And I also think whether it's the New York area, he acts like that. There's old school Giant fans who don't always love that way about him. I think the Eli Manning factor plays into that as well, all of it. But I do hate how he gets lumped together there. And I would go, no, if we put up a graphic right now about on-field and off-field issues, we'd have to go to a second graphic for Antonio Brown. And really, we'd be able to fit it all in with Odell Beckham Jr. Hit the kicking net. Oh, gosh, he's such a bad. He's hit the kicking net. I mean, horrible guy. Okay, boat trip to Miami. It's the worst thing he ever did. Boat trip to Miami and his day off. I understand that's not perfect, but it's not the worst thing we've ever seen in professional sports.
I think most people would agree, and the value attached to both those players with the trades, I think, speaks to what you're saying. I mean, Antonio Brown, they got a third and a fifth for that talent. While
I'm still shocked by that too. I know. I'm still shocked by Antonio Brown and that the Steelers gave up on it that quickly there too. Especially when you're going to be on the hook for $21 million for Antonio Brown this year, no matter what. I would have said no.
You think they shouldn't have given up on him?
Well, I would have drawn a line in the sand and wait for more desperate teams to come to the top. I would have gone, let's go through free agency, we'll go through the draft. There'll be a team that's going to go to OTAs, and all of a sudden they're going to go, damn, we don't have a receiver. We're in deep crap. And now you get a team who's desperate to kind of fix that position to maybe now you get what you want. I just think the Steelers kind of folded tent or shop a little too quick on this one altogether.
Now, here's another part of the Giants thing. At safety, Jabril Peppers, upgrade from Landon Collins?
No, he's not an upgrade.
And a week ago, you, I thought, very well stated why you were no longer a huge Landon Collins fan.
Yeah, again, and it's Landon Collins is a good player. I do not value him as one of the 5, 6, 8 best safeties in football. Yeah, I think you could sit there and we could have conversations about him being anywhere from 9 to 18.
But you think they're better off with him playing than Peppers?
I do. Peppers has been a disappointment in Cleveland. I never thought he was a first-round pick. I'll just say that. I've been watching him through since high school, okay? And again, this is the worst part about the job because I know the kid is a good kid and a cool kid and he works hard and all those things. But if you look at Cleveland on film last year, they went through a period of the year where they took Jabril Peppers out in passing situations. They took him out. 3rd and 8. We're taking him off the field because he has no ability to cover. He's kind of a really small guy to be an in-the-box safety, and that's what he is. You can't really trust him in coverage or playing the back end to cover a lot of range, and that's where I am dicey about the player, but it doesn't freaking matter what I think. The Giants obviously like him and think he can fit, the James Betcher scheme and maybe be more successful in that than he was in Cleveland.
You're thinking more about the whole quarterback situation with the Giants and what happened with OBJ. I called 2 of my best friends about a half-hour drive into work who are diehard Giants fans. So anytime something Giants comes up, I always want to talk to them because they're rational, but they're season ticket holders. Their dads were season ticket holders. Their kids were nothing but Giants jerseys. So I call them both up, and they both, in very calm ways, said, I was relieved. I'm ready to move on from this situation that had become the OBJ deal. I want the Giants to find a new quarterback.
Right.
And this is the best way to do it. And I was surprised that they weren't angry about giving up on a talent like that.
So I want to ask you next is what's their age? I think there's correlation here.
Okay, so I'm 48.
Yeah.
We're talking 45 and 41.
So this is something I've seen, just like psychoanalysis, because again, we're here in Connecticut. We're 27 miles north of where the Giants play, right? MetLife Stadium. So we're surrounded by Giants fans. I do find, whether it's my old high school coach who's from the Vince Lombardi, school of coaching, all the old school Giant fans, yes, we're tired of Odell Beckham Jr., but I think once you get to like the 40 and under or 35 and under, they're all like the opposite. I find more times than not. I know that's not perfect across the board, but I felt like my friends texting me last night, the young whippersnappers I know, they're all like, what the F are we doing? What are they doing?
I think that's a good point, but I'm going to raise my hand and look behind the camera. Our man, what's your name? John, how old are you? John's 27.
Right.
We were talking while we were waiting for Chris to emerge from somewhere in the building. I don't know where you were.
I was in my underground lair writing notes.
I was talking to John, and he said, Giants fan, likes the move. He's 27.
Yeah.
He's in his 20s.
Okay. You're fired from the camera job. We don't want you here anymore, okay? No, I get it. I understand how he could wear people out with some of the antics and all that. All I always say to defend Odell Beckham Jr. is I think a lot of the antics you saw are from good things at times, whether it's okay, we're not winning. The offense is stalling. He wants the team to win. He wants to play good. He wants the offense to play good. So those frustrations. And the other thing, I've just never heard players speak badly about him in the Giants locker room.
What do you think they think?
I think they're probably like, holy crap, we just gave away Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, I know they marvel at him as far as he's one of the freakiest players ever.
Agreed.
And this is, I mean, I am truly in the camp of, like, I believe Odell Beckham Jr. is one of the most talented receivers I've ever seen in my life. Full scope. Straight speed, ability to run routes, ability to make people miss in space with the ball in his hands. I mean, 50-50 balls for a guy that's 5'11". He's phenomenal at that. I truly think if he stays healthy and on the right track and now has a quarterback, he could be, considered the greatest wide receiver of all time. I think he has that type of talent, and I think that led to his frustrations too, because he probably felt like he was in a position where I don't know if my talents are ever going to get really shown here in New York with the quarterback situation and the way things are going.
And the quarterback situation, I want to raise my hand and say I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think with a player like that, the only way it's excusable or understandable to say we don't want that talent around here is if it can fix the number one issue in your building, which is the quarterback position.
Yeah.
So to me, I agree with you.
Yeah, and you can disagree with me too. You could tell me to, shut your mouth, Chris. But
no, with what you're saying about how good he is, I hear you. I'm not shaking my head and saying, you know what, I think you're overreaching with him. I think you're right on with how talented he is. I'm viewing it as a quarterback thing with the Giants, and if they find a way to get their guy, use that 16th pick, I will applaud that bold move and say there was a lot of reason to disagree with it at the time.
Yep.
But now the guy's in the building, and you had to make that move to get there. So I'm waiting to see on that.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see with it on that as well. And then, I mean, when you talk about the Cleveland side of it, I mean, come on, holy cow.
Unbelievable, right?
I mean, it's going to be hard not to root for the Cleveland Browns.
Best team in the AFC North?
I mean,
here in March?
I feel pretty good about saying that. I mean, I know Pittsburgh and Baltimore aren't far off, but man, with that quarterback situation, Jarvis Landry, hey, let's not forget Antonio Callaway was great as a rookie last year, and now you got Odell with David Njoku and a good offensive line, and Nick Chubb at running back. I mean, I feel very confident saying that's going to be one of the 3 or 4 best offenses in all of football. I know that. Right. And it's the first time I think you and I both agree. Like, Cleveland's like a legitimate contender for the first time since the 80s, I feel like.
Even without this move, I think Cleveland was a threat to be a 10-win team.
Yeah.
Now you throw in maybe the most talented wide receiver who's only going to make everybody else there better because of how much defense has to worry about it. I mean, that's an 11, 12-win team. It's amazing how much I believe in Baker Mayfield after just one season.
I'm with you.
I saw the same thing you did last year.
Yeah.
And that is a special talent.
Special talent, special guy, too, special personality. I mean, that's the other thing I'm sure you've heard the same things, but whoever you talk to in the NFL, he's kind of single-handedly changed the culture in the building a little bit because of the way he is, his brashness, his love for football. You could see, and I've heard it's very real with Odell Beckham Jr. liking Baker Mayfield. It's a new day and age, okay? The quarterback no longer has to be like, I'm just a quiet general in the corner of the room. Relatability because of social media and the fact that it's 2019 and all those things, it's important to some players. They don't want to be with like the corporate quarterback anymore. They want to be with the guy that goes, I mean, I know he's a quarterback and he's going to do his thing, but I'd like to be around him and we get a beer every now and then or just shoot the shit, whatever it may be. And I think that's where Baker Mayfield really rubs off on guys.
Interesting story with that while you were talking. I'm thinking back to last week at the Combine. I was talking to a quarterback coach in the NFL, and this is how the whole Baker Mayfield thing played out for him. He said, I was around him at the Senior Bowl, and I was up high, 20 rows high, watching him at practice. Liked him fine. I went down to the field to talk to him afterward, and he put his headphones on right away. A lot of kids there wanted to get his autograph and picture. He kept the headphones on, ignored everybody else, and just walked to the bus, and he said, I don't like this kid. This reeks of Johnny Manziel to me. He's not making time for everybody else. He's a prima donna. I don't like him. Well, then he goes to the Combine to watch him throw. He goes, being on the field and seeing the way the ball came out of his hand, the revolutions, the RPMs, the way he could command the ball, he goes, okay, I'm going to make myself try and like this guy because he throws it that well. Then he was around him, and he described him just the way you did. He's brash, he's confident, he's kind of fun. He's the kind of guy you want to hang around.
Exactly.
A lot of these old school guys are being forced to put some of those views away.
No question.
Their initial feedback or their initial thought of, I don't like him because of that. They got to get past that now because of guys like this and because he has that kind of talent.
Yeah, exactly right. You can't judge the book by the cover this day and age anymore, too. And a guy like Baker Mayfield coming from Oklahoma and everything, and he's won the Heisman Trophy, got people calling at him. Yeah, he's kind of a star. So practice was over. He's talked to who he has to talk to. He wants to put his earphones on and move on to the next thing. He was probably worried about practice or meetings or football, things like that. But, I mean, it is. It's just got old school coaches definitely got to get used to some of the personalities or get over some of their biases they had, dating back to the 70s and 80s.
And with the Johnny Manziel thing, it's not dating back that far.
No.
That's a pretty recent example.
No, exactly, right? And there was way more. That's what used to drive me crazy about the Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel talk. I mean, people trying to lump that together. Listen, Baker Mayfield didn't have nearly the background flaws that I'm sure you heard coming out in the draft process. I certainly heard some of them. Nor did the film match what everybody wanted to make Johnny Manziel out to be. Johnny Manziel NFL, hey, yeah, I know there was a lot of highlight great plays and all that, but if we put his college film onto Baker Mayfield's film, I think we would sit here and go, whoa, okay, yeah, Baker was noticeably better, especially from in the pocket, making NFL-type throws and all that.
The anticipation was just a world different than it was with Johnny.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, Johnny was playing backyard football. Baker was playing football quarterback the right way with a mix of backyard when it needed to be there, and I think that's the difference of the two guys.
Have I heard that your dad is going to come on?
Yeah, we got the big effort's coming out. I'm sure he'll have some things to say.
Okay.
Yeah, we're efforting that right now. We're calling him. So.
And we're also going to eventually talk about some receivers in this class.
We are. We're going to get into some of the draft receivers. I've kind of done a deep dive on. I'm going to say, well, I think I ended up with like 12 guys in the bank there where I've written notes on, and we're going to get into the top 5 and, who jumps out and then decipher.
I'm like a lot of other people listening to you right now. I'm looking forward to getting to know this class.
Cool.
I've spent time with the quarterbacks and a lot of the free agent stuff, but the wide receivers, I'm going to go to school.
Yeah, it's a good receivers class. It really is. I think there's a few guys that stand apart from the rest of the group, but there's good depth in the class. I think you're going to see a lot of guys who are first-year contributors ready to play in the NFL, and we might not even talk about them all today, but down the line, I just thought, wow, okay, this guy's a good player. He's going to find his way on the field.
That's a tease.
Tease.
Right tease. I understand that Mr. Phil Simms, Dad, is with us. Phil, are you there?
Yeah, here. I'm just listening, absorbing all the knowledge that you two are putting out, and
That's
it's
what
just
you
been
should
wonderful.
Phil, I have a question for you.
Listen, I can't take any deep dives. I just, I'll do what I can do.
Okay. Question number 1, Big Phil. How should Giants fans feel this morning?
Boy, that's a tough way to put it, but excuse me 1 second.
He's thinking.
Man, what the hell's going on in my throat here?
Well, that's what you get to look. You're 48. See, he's 63. That's what you got to look forward to. The old man.
Yeah, I know. That's right. Oh, excuse me 1 second. Yes. So I am getting over a sinus infection, but don't feel sorry.
You were doing that last week as well. So
yes, I know, but I am much better now, and whatever. But hey, how do Giant fans react to this?
How should they feel, Phil? How should they feel?
How should they feel? Confused.
Yeah.
I'm confused in this respect. We know he's one of the best receivers in the NFL, one of the probably top 10 players if definitely one of the top 10 players if you don't count quarterbacks. But here's the thing about Odell Beckham Jr. that we got to know, and Paul, Christopher, you know this too. We don't know everything that goes on with the organization, in the locker room, all those things that we're not going to probably get out for a while or maybe never. And the team made this decision because I'm sure the Giants felt like they really had no other choice, and this was going to be, well, of course, like every team, this would be the best thing for their football team, and we'll see how it works out. Now, everybody's talking about they get the draft picks and this and that, but there's so many levels to it, I think. Was Pat Shurmur, was the organization, were they comfortable enough with Odell Beckham Jr. to keep him on the team? When you have a receiver like that, I'll ask you, Christopher, what's one of the first things you got to do every week?
You got to make sure you got plays in the game plan for a guy like this.
Yeah, you got to keep him happy all times. Keep him involved. The Steelers were the best that I've seen in many years, keeping all their guys they want to get the football to engaged, and they usually did it early. I mean, first series, I give them a lot of credit. I said this to you once during the year. Their first 3 passes were screens because they wanted to get the wide receivers going, get the running back going, and get everybody feeling good they had that catch. And I think with that pressure off of the Giants now, that Pat Shurmur and that organization, they're going to run the offense they truly want to run and let the ball just go wherever it takes it.
Right. All right. And now, so I also, like you said, to your confusion point, you also, and then you and I talked on the phone just briefly last night because he wanted to know, what time are you guys going to call me tomorrow? What do you think we're going to talk about? And, I know we spitballed also the flip side of what we think the Giants are doing too. I think there was a part of you that wasn't sure, like, okay, wait, are they going to just rebuild and move on here? How is this all, gonna play out? So why don't you tell, like, what you kind of were thinking there too, as far as that side of the story?
Oh, man, listen, I can't even remember what we said last night because my opinion's changing by the minute. I don't think the Giants are looking at this as a total rebuild. I think it's, here we go, let's get it done. And they're, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I listened to a lot of people this morning, you and Mike Florio, I listened to everything you guys said and all that. I don't know if you really dived into this, but Will the Giants take a quarterback in the first round, Paul and Christopher, yes or no?
Yes.
I'm going to say yes, too.
I think you're wrong. I don't think they will.
Do you think that would be a mistake? And I back up just a little bit here, Phil, because my justification of being okay with the trade is like, okay, if they solve the quarterback issue for the future, Eli plays a year or two more, and they get the guy that they want this year, then the trade is potentially worth it. If they don't get a guy in the first, then what are they doing?
Well, I think they'll wait to get one in the second round. I don't know. I haven't studied all the quarterbacks, but I don't know if you have to go get one in the first. If you're not really sold big time on, I think, Kyler Murray or Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock I like. I'm not. I've only watched him enough. I'm not real sure. I know the Giants will not take him. I don't think they would take him with the sixth pick of the first round.
Right.
I don't think they would do that. I don't know if they would take him with the 17th pick because they got to the Cleveland Browns. I think there's capable quarterbacks that'll still be there. Again, I'm not ready to answer that question in the second round. And here's the biggest thing. If you draft one with the sixth pick, what comes with it?
Expectations?
Well, as soon as it turns it all, come on, we want the new guy.
Yeah,
it doesn't
right.
matter who's in there.
Right.
So you just create confusion
Yeah.
and you upset what you're trying to, I think, accomplish. I think the Giants are going to use these picks. I heard you talking about wide receivers and all that. This draft is the most loaded on the defensive side that I can ever remember. So everybody's going to be looking for these difference makers on the defensive front. I think the Giants will be part of that. And I think hey, I know nothing. I didn't call anybody. I don't try to. But I think they're going to go all out one more time,
Right.
build this team, redo the defense, and just like Jabril Peppers, maybe he can fit into this defense with James Betcher and what he did with Buchanan. So maybe that fills that void if they try to do that. So a lot of things out there. That's just my first thought.
Yeah.
So if they do go that route and wait to get a quarterback in the second, I know Chris has watched all the guys who could be available second round. Is there somebody that they could get in the second round that a light went off in your head and say, you know what, they could get that guy and groom him for a year or two?
Well, I know Dad's not down the line that yet, but I know to me, the guy that would fit that mold. Mm-hmm. And again, maybe there's somebody else, and I have to get farther down the list too. But I've seen at least the top 10 that everybody talks about. Ryan Finley is the next guy for me in that conversation, to where I go, okay, I could see that happening. I mean, I do think he has talent to warrant himself as a top 38 pick. Certainly, I said last week I thought he was a guy that, maybe is that last pick of the first round, something like that. Size, athletic ability, really consistent as far as accuracy. He's the most accurate quarterback in the draft, and more big play ability than I think people realize when you really break him down. So that could be a guy, certainly, that I would look at as far as on my radar to be that guy that Dad's trying to explain.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I know you did Notre Dame, played North Carolina State.
Right.
What did you think when you watched him throw before the game?
It was pretty flawless, Dad. It was one of those things where, okay, I wasn't sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is the most powerful arm I've ever seen before in my life. But I can say in that same year, I saw Sam Darnold come to town too, and I would tell you Ryan Finley's arm was every bit as strong as Sam Darnold. And the big thing, Dad, is just like you and I always talk about, or you hear about a golfer. It was pure every time he threw the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect spiral, right on the money. It was very easy to catch. And I think the arm is more powerful maybe than it looks like on TV. When you see it in person, you go, oh, okay, there's a little more here to this guy, because he is big and he's got long arms. He can kind of just throw it out there with ease, and that always kind of can make it deceiving when you look at him on TV.
Well, that's what you want to see. You don't want guys. It's like this. I want a guy on the golf course who can hit it 300 yards and make it look easy. Right. I don't want him, gearing up and, grinding in the ground, swing as hard as he can to get it out there 300, because it's never going to be as accurate or as good. And that's the same with throwers. You want them to make it look easy. Now, I was talking to a quarterback that played against North Carolina State, and, of course, I asked him, what about Ryan Finley? And his analogy of him was, first off, he says, hey, man, he is one big dude.
Right.
Because that was the first, he couldn't get over how big he was when he, walked past him in warm-ups and stuff. And he had a high praise for him. I know you do. I'm looking forward to look at him. I watched him play many times, but I got to be honest, when I watched North Carolina State play I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times in the last 2 years, I'm not saying I really just watched him, but it never oh wow,
Yeah,
it never really caught my eye.
Yeah.
Which is one thing that would worry me.
Yeah, certainly. I get that because I kind of felt the same way too. There was games where I turned on and I didn't sit there and go, wow, but it was like one of those pleasant surprises when you turn on the film. Film is different than TV.
But the last thing, though,
Yeah.
the last thing just about that, if the Giants do get somebody like him in the second round that can be ready to play, that it probably has, as I listen to you, and Paul, you guys talk, he has NFL starter ability. That gives him time for him to really get. And, Pat Shurmur, I keep going back to this. I think he wants to run the offense that we saw in Minnesota, which he did later in the year with Eli Manning, moving him around and just, keep changing it up and be a running football team that's got, different kind of plays, reverses, counters, like I say, bootleg the quarterback, stuff like that to keep the defense off guard.
Yeah, no doubt. That's the offense he ran in Minnesota the year they went to the NFC Championship game.
It was awesome. It really worked because they tried to run the ball. Their offensive line was better.
Right.
Kirk Cousins wish he probably had the same situations that Case Keenum had up there, but he didn't. But just doing what they did kind of kept the defense off guard, and we'll see if that's what they're doing. That's why, if they do that, that's one reason why Odell Beckham Jr. became expendable.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that that's what they're doing. Especially you trade for Kevin Zeitler, who's a veteran guard, right?
Yeah.
They're going to become a little bit more run-oriented. I do believe that.
So it brings me to this question, Phil. Do you think Eli can run that offense successfully at a winning level for the next year or two?
Well, what I saw at the end of the year, and this offensive line, second year now with the head coach and all that, and I think all the changes they're going to make to their football team. Listen, I'm just being honest. I do think he can be successful, because Saquon Barkley, I think Pat Shurmur's, I think he's a really good play caller.
Right.
And I thought he was great at Minnesota, and I thought as they settled down last year and played some lesser teams, but we saw more of what they want to be. And fixing this line just a little bit, it's like the old saying, when you move the sun 1 degree closer to Earth, Earth explodes. And you could say that about Saquon Barkley. Could we just give him a few more opportunities to make big plays or to run 3 yards before he gets hit by 6 guys? Things like that. And if you do, my gosh, I don't know what will turn out. I think he'll be just as a dynamic or a player, just like an Odell Beckham Jr., that he can change defenses. He can, of course, change your football team, but you got to give him enough chances to do that for you.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dad. I mean, basically what Dad's saying is he thinks the Giants are going to go to New Englandville, right? Because that's what New England did this last year. I formation, pulling guards. We're going to run the ball. We're not going to depend on Tom Brady to throw the ball 50 times a game and be in the shotgun all game long. We're going to run it, play action pass, be able to protect better that way. That would probably be the smart approach for Eli Manning.
Well, you want to do that for many reasons. One, that's just the history of the Giants. One, you want to get your defense in order, hope it gets better, give it time to adjust to, hey, listen, we see it many times. Arrested defense, of course, is the best one you can have. The stats, I'm not a big stat guy, but once they stay on the field over a certain number of plays, and usually it's around 50, 52, then they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
And we saw it. Hey, the Rams in the Super Bowl, I thought they played tremendous on defense, but when it came down to the end of the game, the plays that they were out there, whatever, just enough, got tired just enough where New England breaks runs, and they win the football game because of that.
Right. All right. So one more question on Odell, because I know we're spending too much time and we don't want to take Dad forever. But, Dad, do you think the Antonio Brown issue played into the Giants wanting to get rid of Odell Beckham Jr.? Do you think they looked at that and said, I don't know where this offseason is going to go. Is he going to come out and start saying things about the franchise, about the team? We're scared that it goes down to Antonio Brownville here, and then all of a sudden we lose our trade value. You think that played into this at all?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I think this was there for a long time. I'm sure deep down, even when the season's over or whatever, the Giants had meetings, and I don't know if this came up in the meetings, but I think this has been in their minds for a long time. The NFL, nobody acts, it doesn't come out of nowhere.
Right.
So they've been thinking about this, what kind of team do they want, what kind of locker room, who are they, things like that. And, look, it's a great fit for both. I think it has a chance to work for the Giants. But Odell Beckham Jr. down there with Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield, wow.
Yeah.
I know one thing. That's a lot of personalities. Good luck, Freddie, to deal with. But, you know, it all kind of fits because Baker Mayfield is a aggressive thrower. He will give Odell Beckham Jr. every chance, the second move, as much time as he can possibly buy, which he buys time to throw,
Yep.
and it gets back there deep, and we know they throw it down the field, and that's what Odell Beckham Jr. excels at. He is an unbelievable route runner, double moves, and he probably, I'm not going to put a number on it, but last year, if the protection was better early in the year, he's going to score a lot of touchdowns.
Yes, no doubt.
I mean, how many times you see him run down the field and he just put his hands up, put them down, and just went, okay, let me try to contain I'm not going to throw a fit. And he hung in there for I'd say, most of the year.
Yeah, no doubt. I can think of 3 or 4 plays in the first game of the year against the Jacksonville Jaguars alone right there. All right, let's change tunes.
Okay.
Because we do, I mean, Le'Veon Bell, right, to the New York Jets. I feel bad
Not
for
a
them.
shock. I've always thought he was going to go there. I
Yeah.
thought that at the end of the year. So it didn't seem like it was a hot story or whatever, but it finally perked up, got done. And I heard you this morning, Paul. I think you're right. I think Adam Gase he's not this throw it every down kind of offensive coordinator. He likes to run the football, likes to keep his quarterback in good situations. I think it's a really good move, but I don't want to take all the time here. But here's the thing about Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, please.
I remember when he was drafted by Mike Tomlin.
Right.
And Mike Tomlin worked him out at Michigan State. They loved him. And he goes, why do you weigh 245 pounds?
Right.
And he goes, well, I guess, Michigan State, that's what they want. Let's just hit it in there for 2 yards and, play that offense they've been playing for a long, long time, which is really boring and low scoring. But besides that, so he came to Pittsburgh and cut his weight to 230 or 232. Then the previous year he went to the low 220s. And that was when I thought he was at his best. Nimble, fast, quick moving. And I must have heard it every week I went to Pittsburgh, which I went down there many times every year. Do you know who our best receiver is? No, who is it? Oh, it's Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, and we all know it. We've all heard the stories. But Todd Haley said it to me many times. He goes, listen, I'm not exaggerating. He could be an NFL wide receiver.
Right.
So that was pretty high praise.
Absolutely. And with
So that would worry me about him. His weight, is he going to be, 230, 225, or whatever? If he's over 240, boy, I'd really be concerned.
Yeah.
And
What were you going to say? Go ahead.
I think because he's such a great receiver, and I mean, he was wonderful to watch that way in all those years in Pittsburgh here. Whose life as a quarterback got better today? Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield? Which one has a better life today than they did yesterday?
Wow, that's a good question, but I'm not going to hesitate. It's going to be Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, you talking about putting it in the right spot as far as Odell Beckham Jr. is perfect for that offense, perfect for Baker Mayfield, and there will be no adjusting whatsoever. That'll work right away. Le'Veon Bell will be great. Hey, look, the Jets, they need somebody that can make a play. And as one guy told me, he says, you know what the Jets need? And I said, no, what's that? Well, we need somebody who can score a touchdown. and I think Le'Veon Bell is going to do all those things. Just like on defense, Stephon Gilmore is such a great cover guy. He changes New England's defense.
Right.
And Le'Veon Bell, if he's what we think he's going to be, just his presence and what you do with him is going to change your whole offense, and it's going to improve the talent of all the guys that work around him. So I'm not going to sit here and say I think it's 100% it's going to work. I'm anxious to see it, and I guess I don't have to see it to believe it.
Yep. All right, you the man, Dad. Thanks for coming
on. All right,
on.
No wide receiver talk, but maybe next week, Paul, we'll get into some receivers because, they make the QB stars. Oh, no, wait. Quarterbacks make the QB. Yeah, it's the other way around.
Absolutely. See if there's any Stephen Baker, the touchdown maker in this.
We didn't talk about it. I know you talked about it a lot. Antonio Brown, we heard it a lot. You said it. I've heard everybody now. Everybody copies it. Man, he had Ben Roethlisberger throwing the ball.
Yeah, right.
And I can't tell you doing games how many times receivers go, well, so-and-so, if I had his quarterback, I'd catch 250 balls.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard receivers almost every week cry and moan about their quarterback because he couldn't get them the ball. Right. Well, I hope it works out for Antonio Brown.
Yeah, he had an awful
I know. Me
yeah.
too. All right. Thanks, Dad. I appreciate it.
Hey, Paul,
Big Phil.
you guys have a good day.
You
Good
too,
buddy.
man.
All right.
Be good. Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of it was.
Oh,
I mean,
Where
you want to start
jump-
with the Jets? Or you want to start with the Giants?
Well,
here?
I think the first thing is the Giants. See, I think Dad thinks that they're going all in on Eli for the next year or two.
It was
I know.
I think.
Which I'm not. I mean,
it's new. It's new in this this new story with OBJ being gone. But I've not heard someone say, you know what? I think this team could go all in and make a playoff run and be a competitive team. They don't need to go quarterback in round one. They can get a guy in round two.
Yeah.
It was interesting stuff.
I know.
Everybody is either, yes, I'm tired of the headache. Oh, it's a giant mistake. I can't believe. I haven't heard somebody say that.
No, and again, I don't know if I actually agree with that approach for the New York Giants. Nonetheless,
which part? That they're good enough to be competitive? That Eli can still play well? I mean,
I have the doubts about Eli playing well. I do. I guess I get annoyed with the excuses for Eli all the time. That's where I go crazy with it at times. Oh, his offensive line wasn't good. But yet Saquon Barkley doesn't get talked about. Then, man, the 5 yards per carry that Saquon Barkley had behind that same crappy offensive line is mind-blowing then, right? I get sick of that talk. It's been a constant defending all the time, and I want to go, no. One of the biggest flaws with the New York Giants is the quarterback position. There's no way around it. I know he's awesome and done awesome things, but I'm not going to sit here and just continue to sugarcoat it. And you're 17 just because he won 2 Super Bowls and all of that. So that's where, I question it. I got to see it to believe it. I really do. There was too many plays on film last year, and I know the protection wasn't great, but there was teams I could show you and go, they had better. This quarterback had not as good a protection as Eli Manning. How do you think he felt? Ask Deshaun Watson how he felt about his pass protection last year. But so I got to see it to believe it is what I'm saying.
I understand that. And I don't think anybody, your dad included, is saying that, hey, Eli Manning is still a top 10 quarterback. But I think I did hear him say if Pat Shurmur gets to run the offense that he wants to run, this could be, and he didn't say this, I'm guessing here, could be a 9-10 win team. Do you think they could win 10 games with Eli now?
I don't think they can. I think they can certainly be an improved team. I don't think they're like folding tent here and, we're in this to fail this year to get the quarterback for next year, anything like that. I never looked at this, Odell, they're giving him away, and this is the start of the rebuild. Here we go.
Because that's a very popular theory.
I know that's a very and I looked at it the exact opposite. I looked at this, they're going, this is Eli's offense and his team, and we're going with it from here. This is about Eli. This is taking the pressure off of Eli and going, now you don't have to worry about feeding him the ball. We don't have to worry, about it exposing you when people like me or whoever else watch film on a weekly basis and go, damn, they left 140 yards on the field with Odell open down the field and nobody threw him the ball. So I think it's more about that. And I still think that they're in this year to win and try to be a playoff team. You don't get a Kevin Zeitler who's in year, 9 of his career, or he's getting up there towards that point, unless you're going, no, we're trying to win right now at this point, and they're trying to protect Eli Manning and help out Saquon Barkley all in one.
Don't turn and look at the TV because I just said don't turn and look at the TV. I
couldn't help it.
Breaking news.
Yes.
I want your first reaction. Have you heard as well?
I did. I saw it when Dad was talking. I looked. I saw it.
Earl Thomas.
I almost brought it up to Dad, but I didn't want him to talk about that too.
You'd have to turn and cough again and gather
go
his
ahead.
thoughts.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Earl Thomas, a Raven. Mark Ingram, a Raven.
Mark Ingram too.
Did I hear that correctly?
I did not know that.
Yes.
Wow. I'd heard the Ravens were lukewarm, maybe in the Le'Veon Bell conversation.
Yeah. They'd lost quite a bit the last week.
They did.
So
yes.
Let's start with Earl Thomas quickly because I want to get onto this wide receiver list in the draft. Earl Thomas.
Still really awesome.
Still the guy he was 3 years ago?
No, not the guy he was 3 years ago, but still really good. I think the reason he held on this long is he was asking for too much money.
Right.
Now, what, he got 4 years, $55 million, right? So that's basically $14 million, a little less than that, 13 and change per year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I think he was asking for too much money at this point of his career. He's broken his leg 2 out of the last 3 years, but he's still a rocket in the back end there. And they had a need there at the position. Him with Tony Jefferson at safety.
Pretty good.
It stinks they lost C.J. Mosley. They're not going to replace him. Zadarius Smith, of course, is a very good player too, but they got guys like Tyus Bowser, who they drafted in the second round out of Houston. They drafted Tim Williams, the good pass rusher out of Alabama a few years ago. So I think along with them and Matt Judon, they go, okay, we got other guys here to move on, and I think there's more depth. That defense is going to be fine. I don't think it's going to be a big issue. And Mark Ingram, of course, is going to be a good fit too.
They drafted very well with Ozzie Newsome. Eric DeCosta, the new GM, expected to carry on the tradition.
Yep.
All right, let's move from free agency to wide receiver. As promised, the top wide receivers. According to Chris, we're going to go from 5 to 1.
Yep.
Number 5, who you got? Who is
Number 5 is going to be A.J. Brown from the Ole Miss.
The other Ole Miss.
Other Ole Miss wide receiver, who again is I don't want to say a freak in his own way, but he has a freaky body.
Some guys just say, down there at Ole Miss.
Oh my gosh!
Jeez.
I mean, I'm embarrassed for Ole Miss, really. Actually, I watched the film and go, how were they not better? This is embarrassing that their offense didn't move the ball up and down the field. But there's A.J. Brown on the left, who you could see as a specimen, but doesn't look as specimen-ish because there's a greater specimen next to him, and DK Metcalf.
That's photoshopped, Chris, right?
Yeah, right.
No?
But A.J. Brown, I think this is what I would say, and you could see from the build there. He is, and we're going to say this about another receiver, he is a running back playing wide receiver in a lot of ways.
That's not good for a wide receiver.
Well, it's okay this day and age. I'm okay with that because, first of all, I don't think he's the type of receiver that's going to make a living on the outside, okay? I think this is a guy who is outside at times but has tremendous slot value as well. He's 6 foot. He's 226 pounds. He ran a 4.49, right? 4.49 for outside receivers is just not moving this day and age anymore. And the film confirms that. He is not that type of guy where you're going to go out and go, hey, we're going to put you outside. Stephon Gilmore is going to guard you all game. We expect you to get open. No, that's not going to happen. He is going to need some help. But he's got size, physicality, and he's a very good route runner for the size. Usually when you get big guys like this, they can't stick their foot in the ground and break out of cuts. And for all those, Annie, I'm going to stand up for a second here with this one. For all those who are going, what do you mean by stick a foot in the ground? Well, I mean this right here, basically. When they're going into a route and they're running, their ability to go boom and hit it and come out of the break is very important in creating separation. You know that as being an ex-quarterback. He is a guy that can do that, which is rare for a guy that has those type of measurables. Sometimes you get guys that size and you see more of this kind of break, right? And against good DBs in the NFL, those are telltale signs of, oh, here goes a guy, he's breaking, I'm going to break on the ball and do that.
Yeah.
So that was an important thing that I looked at, certainly with his ability. He's more of a quick than fast guy, right?
And that's almost better if he's a guy who can play in the slot.
Exactly
as well.
Right. Yes.
Would you rather have someone who's quick than a
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, hey, it depends how you're going to use him. But I do think, yes, at the end of the day, he is going to make his money as a slot receiver. I wrote down this as my comparison. I thought he was Quincy Enunwa, right? Quincy Enunwa for the New York Jets, right? Yep. Who's turned into a really good football player. Kind of big, right? Yeah. Same kind of, really the same measurables. I think Quincy Enunwa was maybe 1.5 inches taller, but the same weight. Yeah. And really a comparable 40 time to go with it. But, yeah, he's going to be a guy that's going to be big, physical, be fearless over the middle, break tackles, going to block in the run game. He's going to be able to do all of those things.
Yes. He's your number 5 guy. And there's a lot of classes where the fifth best wide receiver is worth the first-round pick. Are you describing a first-round receiver there?
I don't think I am, no. Okay. I think this is a second-round guy. Somewhere, I would say, between 40 and 64 is where somebody like this guy goes, yes.
Who you have at number 4?
Number 4, and this is one of my favorite watches, kind of a pleasant surprise. Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel from South Carolina. Okay, 5'11", 214 pounds. To me, this is Jarvis Landry of the NFL draft this year. It's, again, not going to be the guy that goes outside and just burns by everybody for deep bombs down the field. But you want to throw screens to a receiver and have him get yak after he catches the ball and make plays happen, make people miss. This is your guy. He is almost always makes the first guy miss. He's got talk about another guy in a wide receiver in a running back's body. 5'11", 214. He's dense and thick, and he plays with a fearlessness most physical receiver in the draft. And when I mean he's fearless, Paul. You could throw
Talking about going over the middle?
Going over the middle, and there'll be two linebackers there, and he just goes up and extends his body and just is almost like, come on, hit me. Go ahead. Let's see if I go down.
And the hands?
And the hands are phenomenal. There's a few drops here and there.
Okay.
But the context of the drop matters, okay? The drops that I saw were over the middle like this, and he's about to get lambasted by some middle linebacker from Alabama. Okay, yeah, they're going to happen every now and then when you're living over the middle like that. But for the most part, yes. As you go through game after game after game, his hands are phenomenal. Snatches the ball out of the air, has incredible ability after the catch. And in fact, I think with the ball in his hand, he plays faster than the 4.48 speed.
You must have some kind of concern because the way you're talking about him now sounds like a number 1 or 2 guy. Why is he only 4 or not 3 or 2?
Well, I think because of the top end speed does mean something to me.
And his top end speed is?
It was 4.48.
Okay.
Okay. He's a guy that when he played the LSUs of the world that had some top tier corners, right?
Yeah.
They weren't scared of his speed. Like Greedy Williams on the outside there, they were kind of, okay, you want to come out here and you're going to have to prove to me you can run by me first. And once they realized, okay, you're not going to run by me, it made it hard for him to get open. Because on the outside, if you don't have the threat of running by people against quality corners in the NFL, then man, everything else is going to get harder. You know that. Okay, if you're a DB and he's not scared of you running by him, damn, it's going to be hard to run an out route or a comeback or an in cut because he's just going to constantly be waiting for you to break down because he's going to go, well, if he does try to run by me, I'll run him down and make a play on the ball. But to me, this guy is, I'm going to say like a poor man's Percy Harvin in the way where they line him up at running back. He gets speed sweeps. He is very good that way. Again, I don't think this is a first-round talent, but I think this is a guy that goes somewhere in the second round.
If he has that kind of versatility, thinking about what the Chiefs do with their guys, teams will love to see it.
That's the new fad of the NFL.
Absolutely.
You got to have that guy. And, he's got a knack for making plays happen, breaking tackles. He can do a little bit of everything.
So he's at 4.
He's number 4, right?
Like what I heard there.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Number 3. And this one might be the one that surprises people, but Marquise Brown from Oklahoma. Okay? Marquise
Why should
Brown.
that surprise me?
Well, I feel like when I read news or look at things, I see him in some mock drafts. He's a top 10, top 15 pick, and I just don't see that. Okay?
Does the injury scare you?
Yeah, the injury does scare me, certainly.
And the injury is?
He's got Liz Frank injury in his foot, right? So that's a little bit of an issue. You got to be able to jam your foot in the ground at wide receiver.
Right.
So that scares me. 5'9", 166 pounds scares me, okay? If we were going to start right off there. Yes, not that you have to be the biggest receiver in the world, but that is a really small wide receiver to go, okay, I'm going to draft you at top 15. Now go get open against Jalen Ramsey, who, by the way, is just as fast as you. And if he puts his hands on you, you're in deep trouble. Those are the things that scared me. Now, and I've heard comparisons to Deshaun Jackson. I want to say, hey, I get that comparison. The guy's top-end speed when he opens up, it's special, okay? But Deshaun Jackson was 6 foot. I don't know if you've ever seen Deshaun Jackson.
He's little.
He's like tiny frame, but incredibly long arms. He's got arms of like a 6'3", 6'4" man. Okay. He's got a waist. He's got a torso that's about a foot big, and he's what I want to say is like almost a 6'3" gangly guy stuck in a 6-foot body. Okay, that's how I
his total frame is bigger than his actual
exactly
height.
Right.
And you don't see that here.
I don't see that here. I see a smaller guy who, again, is a playmaker, can make plays over the top. But these are the other things that worry me about him in this conversation. First of all, the Big 12 stinks. We're not talking about...
Guys are running so open, it's unbelievable.
Right, it's a flag football conference is kind of what I say. And think about the draft. You're not hearing about anybody in the Big 12 being talked about in the first round. You're not hearing about anybody in the Big 12 being talked about in the second round on defense. There was only 3 DBs from the Big 12 at the NFL Combine.
That's your old conference, man.
I know, it's scary.
What are they doing?
And 2 of them were Texas guys that were there at this. So, it's become a flag football conference where that's where it becomes a hard eval with these guys because Oklahoma is the clear-cut cream of the crop in the Big 12. They got NFL players all over the field, and at times they're playing against teams that are just overmatched. There's no way they're going to play against them. The offense is phenomenal. It's creative, so that makes him look a little better than I think what he really is. And, of course, he had a quarterback that was really special, too.
Yeah.
Here's my other little worry, and, again, this goes into the route running, and, Annie, I'm going to stand up one more time. But he is not a guy that I look at for his size that is incredibly quick, right? He's not jitterbug quick. He's not Julian Edelman, Jamison Crowder. And what I mean by that is, like, when I just say jitterbug, or you hear quicker than fast, right?
Yeah.
You know, his ability just to be twitchy and boom, and come out of a break. That's not kind of what he is. For a smaller guy, he has a little bit more of a build-up speed, and he's not as a precise route runner, again, as I would have thought for a guy that's built the way he is. It's a little bit choppy, and I mean that from not being able to stick the foot in the ground, and he doesn't have great hips. I guess
that's something that wide receiver coaches will see, and that, you know what, he's in the Big 12, he didn't have to run great routes to get open. We can teach him that.
I think to a degree, but you have to be able to take into account little things you see with the physical body too, to go, okay, are there certain things we can teach him, or is his body just limited in this capacity to where I don't think he'll be able to do this? And when I bring up the hips, that's one of the things that concerns me about him. He's another guy that the hips kind of have to go with him in running. His gait is not real fluid and open. So when he makes a break, it's always boom, 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 and then he comes this way and boom, boom, boom. There's no just boom, and like the hips turn and fly around. It's kind of all got to be in a line. He's a little bit of a straight liner that way.
Yeah.
To where between that, what I talked about with the Big 12, the size, hey, again, this guy's a first-round receiver all the way. So I want to make sure that's the distinction. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he's, at least in my opinion, and from what I've seen, I just don't categorize him as high as I've maybe seen other people do it.
He's the first guy you've described, and we've only gone 5, 4, and 3. But with 5 and 4, I thought you were describing him in a way he could be 1 or 2. This is the first one where there were more concerns than positives.
I know. You know what? And I shouldn't have done that.
No, it's
you know,
okay.
but you're right. As I was talking, I was saying the same thing to myself.
It didn't sound like you were talking about the third best receiver in the class.
I know. And I shouldn't because he is better than the other two I talked about. He really is. He has home run ability, certainly. But I guess what I know is I've heard so much about the guy. I think that's what kind of dictated. I'm responding to that a little bit to go, yeah, this guy's good. Don't get me wrong. But, man, people have made him out to be Deshaun Jackson or this guy that's just going to be a superstar and take over the NFL right off the bat. And I have some questions, obviously, about that.
Let's move up to number 2.
Yeah, number 2, Paris Campbell, okay?
Buckeye.
Buckeye. Yeah. I think this is my favorite receiver in the draft. This is him right here. This guy's got superstar ability.
Why isn't he one?
Because the other guy is kind of a free can't-miss prospect. But, I mean, when I look at the guy out of this draft and go, this could be Odell Beckham Jr., it's Paris Campbell. Yeah, I do.
The talent's that good.
The talent is that good. The raw ability is there. I mean, for me, the first thing you talk about, he ran 4.31. He was the second fastest guy at the combine. Does it show up on tape, though? And it does show up on tape. You know, that's a good thing we need to bring up, too, because some guys run fast at the combine and the tape's not the same.
Yeah.
This was a guy where I would have watched the tape and gone, ooh, he might run like 4.29 or 4.3.
Because someone who runs 4.3 on tape, you watch 3 plays and you sit up and you say, that looks different.
Yes, no doubt.
And that's what you saw.
That looks different. I mean, the guy only ran 3 routes. He ran a shallow cross, he ran a fake the shallow cross and come back out, or he just ran straight. I mean, that's all they did with him. So it's limited as far as like a route tree resume, right? But when you are capable of catching shallow crosses and turning the corner and outrunning everybody on Michigan's defense, which has NFL players all over it, and you can run for 70-yard touchdowns and do speed sweeps and
shallow
things like
cross, that, you would describe as
just like a 4 yards, 3 yards, just coming across the formation, like right where the linebackers are.
And there's no real hard cut, put your foot in the ground with that either. It's kind of you veer into it.
You veer into it, and you hope you outrun the guy who's trailing you, and then you hope the quarterback throws you a ball that's semi-accurate so you can keep running at a fast speed and then outrun everybody. But, yes, I think from that standpoint, I was amazed by that. He's an effortless runner. I think he has a gear that really him and the guy we're about to talk about have, where, you know, that 6th gear, when they see the ball in the air or they see, wow, there's a clear path, he can strike it up another level to where he's the fastest guy on the field.
So he can go get it when the ball's in the air. How are his 50-50 ball skills?
Good, but you don't get to see a ton of that. Yeah. And that's the things, again, with a lot of these receivers, you don't get to see extensive route tree combinations all the time. You kind of got to make determinations on, okay, I've watched the athlete, I've seen, yes, these routes, and I know that's not everything, but you got to make your determination. And the one thing I thought, too, is he was a phenomenal route runner. I know, and like I said, it's not an extensive
Only
route
based
tree.
off of those 3 routes.
Basically, and maybe the slot out route.
Yeah.
But with the things I look at that tell me he is a good route runner is, again, the ability to set up defenders and also be able to stick his foot in the ground, not really lose speed. What we would say in the scouting world is his ability to burst in and out of transition is phenomenal. And he can be that guy where, oh, okay, I got a guy out here cover me. He leans him out, and then it's just bam, and he comes out of the cut, and he doesn't lose any of that 4-3 speed while he makes the cut. That is a special receiver to me. I was blown away by Paris Campbell. I knew he was explosive and fun to watch. He was better than what I thought he was.
Even more than you thought he was.
Yeah, I really did.
I hear you describe him and running only 3 routes basically on film, and I hear people say, well, why do you have to have a pro day? Why do they got to go look at him? This is a guy where the pro day, the individual workout, is huge.
Spot on.
Because they have to see you do things that you're not showing them on film.
Exactly right. That's a great point, too. And you're right. That's exactly what you have to do.
I just get tired of people
workouts.
Ripping pro days. Oh, why do they have to do that? For some guys, it's huge.
It is. It's very important. And if you're a team who's about to make a multi-million-dollar investment in a player like that, it helps to know little things like that. I want
to see him run the
routes.
Right.
I've never seen him run a post corner. And I want to see if he can handle it.
Right.
And, okay, gosh, whoa, he did that with ease. Okay, then let's check the box there. Yeah, it is. It's very important. Plus, as you know, and the people out there listening, you know, sometimes you watch something on TV and you think one thing when you're TV scouting, and then it's another thing, like you talked about with Baker Mayfield at his pro day earlier, right? You get there on the field, and you see the guy in person, you go, whoa, he's a little bigger than I thought on TV.
Right.
He's a little quicker than it looked like on TV, and all of a sudden you start to piece it together and you go, okay, wait, this guy's special.
2 things jump out to me when you say that, as far as watching in person from field level. Number 1, you cannot tell how a quarterback throws.
Exactly right.
How it comes out of his hand, unless you're right there. And someone who has the 4-3 speed in that burst, when you see on TV, it's like, okay, when you're there in person and someone is that legitimately fast,
you go, oh my
incredible.
Gosh, what's it like to be that fast?
It's different.
Yes, 100%.
I sidetracked you there. So we got 5 through 2. I think I know who number 1 is.
Number 1.
Let's have it.
Yeah, I mean, it's DK Metcalf. And again, you want to talk about a guy, I mean, this is one of the freakiest can't-miss prospects of the whole draft. I mean, I would be shocked if he is not drafted in the top 10, top 12. He is that type of player.
Giants at 6?
I mean, listen, if they wanted to go all in on Eli, I certainly would look at, Giants at 6. The Buffalo Bills, I believe they're the 9th pick in the draft, something there. They're certainly looking for a guy like that who Josh Allen can just launch the ball down the field. That would make sense to me here, too. I mean, this guy's a Greek god. I don't even know what else to say about him.
I know he's built.
Right.
I know he looks great, but just as a football player on tape, if you didn't know the 40 time at the combine, you didn't know how he looked with his shirt off, just watching him run routes, what'd you think?
The routes are not perfect, okay? But you have no problem when you turn on the tape going, where's DK Metcalf? He stands out right away. Before he even runs, you just go, who is that big, freaky, good-looking guy at wide receiver? And you go, well, of course, that's DK Metcalf. I mean, he stands out just in uniform alone. But then you turn on the film, and I watch the Texas Tech game. Second play of the game. Zoo! Gone. Touchdown. Turn on the Alabama game. First play of the game. Zoo! Touchdown. So that says a lot, let alone he commands double teams in college football, which you don't see all the time. Now, is he the perfect player? No. I mean, Ole Miss.
What's your biggest concern?
His route running is very raw. He has raw technical aspects of his game. He's doing it all on just God-given natural ability. He's doing it with, I'm scaring you with my speed, and if I didn't scare you with my speed, I'm going to just push you off at the top of the route, and you're not going to be able to handle my power, and I'm going to be open, and then good luck trying to tackle me. That's kind of how he does it. So he's not nuanced that way. But again, I don't know if he'll ever be perfect that way. You can't have it all. Calvin Johnson wasn't a great double move route runner. Julio Jones isn't amazing at every route if we sat there and watched film. When you're 6'3", 228, and you run 4.33 and have a 40.5-inch vertical, you're not always going to be able to stop that big body going that fast just like that to come out of a break and run a precise route. You got to live with some of that, but either way, he's can't miss. I mean, this is one of those where have fun trying to find the negatives and all that, but the negatives are all team-based. And I know he has a neck injury, but he's Julio Jones.
Wow.
He's Calvin Johnson-ish that way. Yeah. And then, go ahead. Yeah.
So for those of us, for those of you who can see what we're doing here, we're showing basically a glorified pie chart of what he did at the Combine. Correct?
Correct.
And so tell me what I'm looking at.
Well, you're looking at, of course, all the areas that are shaded in red. I mean, basically, he was, he's at the top, the 97th percentile in broad jump. I mean, vertical jump, he's at the 93rd percentile. But there's this big white gaping area there with 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle, right? Which was certainly less than average. I mean, it was not impressive as far as those times are concerned.
What do those things tell you about how it translates to a football
Well,
field?
it tells me that, there's some routes, double moves, post corners, he's not going to be good at. It goes back to what we talked about. When you're that big and you're that explosive, you're not going to always have it all. And here's Julio Jones, very similar. Okay, yes, his 3-cone drill was very good, but the 20-yard shuttle, not great. When you're moving that fast and that explosive, it's hard sometimes to just stick your foot in the ground and come back and change directions right away. Calvin Johnson, you know what's missing here?
That's a hand size?
It's got hand size. You're right. They're smaller hand size. But you know why this one looks different, Paul? Because on this graphic, the 20-yard shuttle and the 3-cone drill aren't even on there. You know why?
Why?
Because Calvin Johnson knew he wasn't very good at that. And he said, you know what? My film's awesome.
Yeah.
I run a fast 40. I'm really big. I'm not going to give you a chance to look at those type of things. Nor do those things always mean foolproof, you're awesome anyways. But, okay, here's DeAndre Hopkins. His is not that impressive of a pie chart there when you look at it. Or a spider web chart, whatever the hell this chart is, okay? Either way, you could see. But it doesn't. So all these numbers and tests, they don't always just mean you're going to be an awesome football player. And I'm not concerned that DK Metcalf isn't great at the 3-cone drill. They're not going to be asking him to run some of the routes Antonio Brown runs for the Oakland Raiders where, he runs in aggressively and then comes back out, or, option routes, things like that. No, he's going to live on the outside, and they're going to go scare him with your speed. We're going to throw comebacks to you when they're so scared of your speed, they're so far off. We'll just throw you comebacks or out routes or posts over the top and shallow crosses. They're going to play to his strengths, but he's a stud. And the class in general is pretty impressive.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Sometime in the next few weeks, for the YouTube portion of what we're doing, I'd love to have you pick out a couple of plays, good and bad, and point out exactly what you're talking about now, and we can watch them.
Cool.
Do it. We can watch the strengths and take a look at the weaknesses as well.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. No, I'm all for that. Again, none of these guys it's college football. Offenses are limited. Quarterbacks are limited. It's hard sometimes to evaluate some of these receivers because all of them, I would say, their route trees were just not that extensive. Marquise Brown probably ran the biggest variety of routes because he was with a really creative offensive coordinator in Lincoln Riley, who's the head coach, and a guy in Kyler Murray who could deal the ball wherever he wanted to. And some of these other guys didn't have that except for Paris Campbell.
Had to be good at finding the opening because they were dropping 8 guys and only rushing 3. And Kyler Murray, who's having his pro day today as well, will have a reaction to that coming up down the road here in the next couple of weeks. So 5 through 1 wide receivers. You did the explanation. Just the names now.
Right. A.J. Brown, Ole Miss. Outside receiver with more slot value. Deebo Samuel from South Carolina. Again, outside receiver, but more slot value. Think Jarvis Landry. Number 3, Marquise Hollywood Brown, who people are talking like Deshaun Jackson. I don't think it's quite that, but still really awesome. Certainly a first-round pick. Number 2, Paris Campbell, my favorite player of the draft. I think he has a chance to be that superstar Odell Beckham type of guy. I really love his game. Smooth, effortless, has a gear that him and only DK Metcalf have in this draft for my money. And number 1 is DK Metcalf because he is a Greek god. He's the closest thing we've seen to Julio Jones coming out in the draft since Julio came out.
Chris, one reminder in the building that you're really making it, that this podcast thing for you is going.
Right.
I was in an NHL Live meeting last night. I'm taking notes about the rundown. I look up, and on the back of one of these computer screens, just like that, it was right there, front and center, talking hockey. Chris Simms Unbuttoned
That's-
in different parts of the building. So congrats.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's good to know that somebody around here likes me.
And that's my way of saying it. That's pretty much
That's it?
today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a sticker for you too, man. Free of charge. No problem.
Thank you very much. I'll put it on the back of my car.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. You might be in trouble there.
Yeah, this is the nice part for me. I usually am the one who has to wrap up and throw off the air. I get to watch you.
You get to watch me
Say,
struggle through it and be Johnny Host, man.
I wasn't going to say struggle. I was just watch you
No,
do
thanks
your
for
version
tuning
of
in.
it.
Always awesome with you,
Good
my
to
little
talk to you, man. That was
Burmeister. You're
fun.
the man. I hope it was fun. Wednesday draft edition. I hope everybody out there enjoyed it. Hey, remember, Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. You can go to it on YouTube.com, YouTube/NBC Sports, or anywhere you download your podcast. Please subscribe. I need it. Help me, please. Help subscribe. And we got another podcast coming out on Friday where we'll talk about some Kyler Murray reaction from his pro day and some other things that went on in the NFL. Appreciate everybody tuning in, listening, wherever you're at. Peace out, homies. Be good. Paul, say bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Talk to you next time.
See ya.
I'll be listening.